Tonight on the game show, we tackle one of my all-time favorite genres, the JRPG. So stay tuned to check out what my favorite JRPGs are, my favorite things about JRPGs, and of course, the even more interesting opinions of the game show crew. And I'd like to know what JRPGs you like. What are some JRPG elements you like? Because we're also going to be talking about those. If you like what you see, you know the song and dance, give us a like and give us a subscribe. But without further ado, let's dive in to the world of JRPGs. This is Brickman X, and welcome to the game show on February 4th, 2026. How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Jack?
Going great. I am free of Death Stranding 2. I have seen the end. I have seen credits.
He has seen the promised land.
I can put that game away, and I don't have to worry about it until I want 100% it. So
awesome.
I'm doing great.
No more carrying things for you for a little bit. And Jess, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing good. Really excited to get into the show tonight, and I had a remarkably chill day with really no meetings on the books for once, so that was very nice.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow. Chill day. That is very nice. And Logan, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good. It was a busy day for me, not entirely chill. This week isn't very chill, but I'm having a good time. Went and saw Iron Lung. That was a lot of fun. Good job, Markiplier.
Nice.
Also, I'm excited that our channel
about
has
that
reached,
in general.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm also excited that our channel has reached 200 subscribers. Yes,
we are growing. It's been nice looking at the continuous growth, and our subs are up 70% in the last 28 days. I went into the analytics. I'm sorry. I can't help it. And Daria, how are you doing this evening?
Numbers is numbers, man.
Numbers. I'm an accountant.
Much better than last week. Feeling a lot better.
Good.
And honestly excited to just kind of chill out with you guys.
Awesome. Well, I am not feeling better. I've been sick all day. I taught my first class and then in sunglasses because my head hurt so bad from I think it's what the whole family had, kind of Jack's situation. So then I was the one that got to enjoy it today. And so I went home and I've been sleeping all day, and so I could rest up and have some strength to do this, because I'm super stoked for tonight's show. This is kind of, the highlight of the week. And like I said, or like Logan said, happy, that we got up to 200 subs. You could be our 201st sub right now, get us up to 250. That would be awesome. Do it. Let's grow faster. But super stoked about tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about JRPGs in a second, as I said in our intro. But before that, we have some updates from Jack and Jess. So who'd like to go first?
Jess, you take it away.
All right.
Right. Well, I don't have as many, but we're going to start with Iron Lung, as Logan has just mentioned. Super exciting to see a indie movie based off of a video game do as well as it did. $17.8 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait.
Makes me happy.
Did it beat the Melania movie?
He did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So many things to say
I
that
think it got number one for the weekend.
Nice.
It was...
it's not much of an
It
achievement.
seems
Okay, I'll end it at
that. It seems unclear if it's number 1 or number 2 with Send Help. It's like, I guess there was some weird stuff. I don't know the details of it.
It had a $2 million budget, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I kind of want to see Send Help just because I'm a Sam Raimi fan, but like the whole thing just seemed a little off.
It was a little weird. But either way, regardless, the movie did phenomenal. I go see it tomorrow. So I'm super excited and anticipating enjoying it a lot. Super happy for Mark. I've been a fan of his since his early days on YouTube when he was playing Amnesia. And to see him grow and do as well as he's doing, and obviously care so much about like the artistry and the filmmaking process and how much he like put in to learn and do this right has been really cool to watch, and just really happy to see it do as well as it did. And also from a indie filmmaking standpoint, it's great to see someone do so well.
I'm right there with
super
you.
exciting news.
I was just saying, I'm right there with you. I
go
think
ahead.
it's totally awesome. And hopefully it's a nice sign of things to come of people being able to express themselves through film in a high quality way that resonates with audiences.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it, Jess.
I'm so stoked. I wanted to go even sooner, but it was the first time that Aiden and I were actually able to get our schedules together to go. So
Nice.
Cool.
seeing it tomorrow, we will talk in depth, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other little bit of news that I have is regarding Stardew Valley and more information about the 1.7 update.
Oh.
Concerned Ape did an interview with IGN where he mentioned that this new update, he's going to be focusing on obviously a bunch of things, but the things that he kind of highlighted in the interview were putting some more work into the children that you can have, which is really interesting because right now they kind of just exist as toddlers that don't serve any purpose other than to be sacrificed, honestly. So it would be really cool to see like if maybe we get them growing up into children and actually doing some things. Maybe they'll be going to like school with Penny and the rest of the kids. So I'm really interested to see where he's going to take that.
Free labor.
And then honestly,
Child labor
they
force.
gotta do something. They just kind of exist right now. So
Yeah.
get out there in the field and play or something. I don't know. Do something. And then the big one that everyone is most excited about is that he's going to announce 2 more marriage candidates.
Oh.
And so we don't know at this point whether that's going to be out of the existing characters that are already there, or if, maybe one of them will be a new character that he'll be adding in. But he said that he would actually announce who they were going to be on the 10-year anniversary, which is going to be the 26th of this month, February 26th. So we'll have more details then.
Very
Personally,
exciting.
I'm hoping for the ability to romance the wizard. And
Good
Sandy,
choice.
But
I don't know anything about
I
it,
will
but I
take
just think it's a
anything.
good choice. It's a wizard.
look, you can't put a wizard in a tower in the middle of the woods and then tell me he's not a romance option.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just not fair.
of course. No, I think it's
He can
great.
do magic.
That's awesome.
So yeah, super excited to see where he'll go with that. I have the utmost trust in him that whatever the update brings is going to be amazing. But cool to see some more kind of teases about what we're actually going to be getting.
That's awesome. It's such a fascinating game. I've seen so many people that just get lost in that game and just have such a great time with it. I've dabbled in it a little bit here and there, but I've never really kind of given myself over to it. So I'm glad to see it's still getting updates this far along.
It's been going on for a long time,
Yeah.
which I
and
love.
I have to be careful because it is such like a time sink for me. I think I have it on Steam, Xbox, and Switch, I believe. And I know just on Steam, I've got like 500 hours, I
Oh
think.
wow.
See, that's how you know it's a great game when you buy it 35 times.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do the same
So-
things.
Resident Evil 4. Yeah.
Yep.
that's fair.
Yeah.
several games.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Man.
That's great. That's exciting. All right. Well, before we get into Jax, I just want to remind you to give us a like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. And be sure to check out breakmanx.com. Hit Discord if you want to chat with us during the week. And follow us on all the social medias. We're everywhere. So you can find them on breakmanx.com or search for breakmanx. You'll find them. Jess does an amazing job managing that. So check out her handiwork. All right, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah,
Take us away.
Absolutely. So the news this week got a lot of stuff. As I mentioned last week, there are a string of Blizzard kind of announcements going on this week and next week. This week, they announced that Overwatch 2 is reverting its name back to Overwatch. So they're dropping the 2. But they are also adding 10 more heroes. So a lot, I'm sure, online generative porn animators will be very happy about that, but also Overwatch fans will be really happy because regardless of what you think about Overwatch, like the character design is pretty awesome, and I know the people that play it have really been wanting more here recently, so that's exciting to see that they're kind of really digging back into it and gonna try to get something new.
That's true. I always thought that was an interesting game. I could never get super into it. I just want to break in here really quick. We got someone chatting us up here. Crystal Madison 8449. Good evening to you as well.
Howdy.
And back to Jack.
Yeah. So the next piece of news, there was an interview where AMD was talking about a lot of different things going on with their business, including they hinted that the next Xbox, which they are powering, will be launching in 2027. So it sounds like, as of right now anyway, Microsoft's plans have not been changed. It still sounds like they're going to launch their new console in 2027. So that's interesting, especially with some of the news kind of going around. I'll kind of get to some of it a little bit later. Actually, the next piece of news is Valve has come out, and Gabe Newell was out there talking a little bit last week, mentioned that the Steam Machine launch and pricing, people kind of thought, this thing was launching in like March, April timeframe. The reason they haven't said anything about it is because they've delayed everything because of the component pricing costs and shortages going on right now in the hardware space. So, yeah, Gabe was just like, hey, look, like we thought we had a plan back in November. Things have gone sideways, so we got to kind of stop and reassess. But as soon as we either have stable information or we've got, better thoughts on what our pricing can be, then we'll announce that stuff. But yeah, it kind of sucks because honestly, I was really looking forward to that here in the next month or two.
Very cool. I'm surprised Microsoft's still making a console.
I'm not. Here's
I'm
the way
joking.
I think of it.
I'm not really surprised.
I mean, to be honest, though, here's kind of the way I think about it is, this is the follow-up to the Xbox Series X and S. They were going to do this no matter what. They planned on this like 5 years ago, as soon as the Xbox X and S launched. But I think it's going to be more like, if you think about all their marketing lately, if you think about everything they've been doing with the cross-platform space right now. This is an
Xbox.
Yeah, I think this is going to be much more like a PC than even the Xbox S and X. So we'll see. I think the ROG Ally is kind of a step in that direction. This is going to be the next logical step. We'll see what that turns out looking like, but it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens. I actually find it really, really intriguing to see how Sony responds, because Sony had plans to bring out their next console next year, but as we talked about last week, it sounds like those are kind of being put on hold until 2028 or later. So either they're just going to let Microsoft run ahead and shoot themselves in the foot, or we might have another situation where you've got, the Xbox 360 that comes out a full year ahead of the PS3, and then Sony's just playing catch up. I don't know what to expect. All I know is, if Microsoft goes forward, they better have the games.
It's all about the games. The most powerful console has never won, ever.
Yeah.
The Gen. So it's all about the games. We go for the games. But
is that true? Because the PS4 won that gen.
The PS4 was the most powerful.
Arguably over the Xbox One, yeah.
It was very close though. It was like a photo finish.
Yeah.
But the console the console that tried to be overtly the most powerful has never won.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is surprising because you always think that having more power would be better. But I knew Xbox would eventually go PC. I mean, it just makes sense. And the modern consoles are pretty much PCs anyway at this point. So it's going to be interesting if there's going to be storefronts or what's going to end up happening. I mean, I would love the ability to build like a console kind of to your own spec and utilize that. I mean, I don't think we're going to get that from Sony, but we might get it from Microsoft, and you can definitely make your own Steam machine. So,
yeah.
I do think it makes some sense that the consoles with the best games win over the most powerful consoles, though, because like with consoles, you typically aren't messing around with performance settings anyway, so the games are like optimized for the console. So the best games are the ones that the people are going to want to buy the system for.
For sure.
I mean, that's like the entire, reason that people like consoles, because you don't have to tweak with it. You don't have to do anything with it. And that's where like
Just works.
the Steam Deck is close. Like you still have to do a little bit of tweaking with it. Like it's not 100% there. Like you still have to kind of know a little bit about PCs to make a Steam Deck useful, or like, really get to know it.
Yeah.
But like it's leaps and bounds over just trying to get a Linux machine that's running on a handheld or something like that.
Well, I'm never happy because I like both. When I'm playing on a console, I want to tweak it. When I'm tweaking on a PC, I wish it was like optimized and like just how it should be.
Yeah, I feel you that way too.
Yeah.
So it's like I go back and forth. Ultimately, I always come back to console just because I like my TV. And Windows has some weirdness with the specs in terms of video output that's not quite perfect for home theaters yet.
Yeah.
Just kind of weird because Linux does it. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but if they can figure that out, I mean, that's really the thing for me, because like when I play like PS5 or Xbox Series X, like home theater setup, the sound is like perfect.
Yep.
And the visuals are like exactly how they're supposed to be. But when I do PC, I have to to play it on my computer monitor is easy, but to get it going on it like that is pain in the
Yeah, no, without a doubt. There's trade-offs for each platform.
But I'm just glad that we have all this competition, and I like to joke, but I am legitimately glad that we have several strong competitors.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting next few years for sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
GameCube's gonna win.
GameCube's going to win. Yeah. So speaking of Nintendo, they announced that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Tomorrow.
They didn't really say much about it, but Thursday, February 5th at 9 a.m. So get in there and see what it's going to be. They said it's going to be about 20-25 minutes. So we'll see what it's going to be. I have to imagine it's going to be, well, actually, I don't know what it's going to be, but I assume it's going to be, if they're spending time on a partner showcase, there should be some decent stuff on there. Kind of connected to that, what is a little more interesting was they had asked the current producer on the Zelda series if they had any plans for the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda, and he was very coy about whether or not there would be anything. So my guess is they've got something pretty cool planned. They just don't want to spill the beans just yet. And
Oh my God.
We'll find out here pretty soon.
I'm like gonna die of excitement. Whatever it is, I just have a feeling it's gonna be good. I also, they're completely like rebooting Zelda supposedly into like a completely new, not a new series. Like it's not gonna be like Breath of the Wild.
It's not going to be like tied to the timeline.
Supposedly not, and then like also like gameplay style is going to be different.
Okay.
And again, that could be not correct, but that's kind of what everyone's saying right now.
Feels very Nintendo of them.
It does. Nintendo's
For
always
sure.
doing that, right? It's like you think you haven't figured out, and then they're like, "Nope, it's all about waggle," and everyone laughs. We're gonna do everyone else's HD and surround sound. We're gonna do 480p stereo. Okay. They won.
But you will swing the sword with the Wii controller.
Which I hated so much. But I know I'm really excited about the Zelda anniversary. I think that they're going to do something really cool. I don't know what it is going to be yet. I mean, but I think it's going to be cool. I got a good feeling.
We'll see.
Tonight's going to be a good night.
And so the last piece of news I got for this week, in a sad news, I think for Switch 2 owners, Borderlands 4 has been put on pause. It was originally supposed to launch in the next few weeks, in March, but they have put development on pause. I think they're having problems getting it running 100%, like running in a smooth fashion, and so I'm not entirely surprised that's the case. I don't know if anybody on here played the other versions of Borderlands 4.
Play 1 and 2. Oh, not 4. Nope.
Okay. But yeah, from what I understand, it's a good entry in the series. It's a lot closer to 2 than 3. Just kind of more of the same. If you like Borderlands, it's more Borderlands.
More Borderlands.
Definitely I won't say a punch in the gut to Switch 2 fans, but you know, if you wanted to play Borderlands 2 on the go, you're going to have to wait a little while longer.
Steam Deck?
I would say probably Steam Deck, but it does have a lot of anti-cheat stuff in there, so you can't play it on the Steam Deck.
Don't like the anti-cheat.
You can play it on... Actually, no, I take that back. It does work for the Steam Deck, but the shaders take a ridiculously long time to compile. Like 45 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Because on Linux, like when I run things, you do have to compile the shaders, but it generally takes like a minute.
Yeah.
But my computer's a lot more powerful than a Steam Deck, I'm sure. But some cool stuff. All right. So tonight, since 2002, the game show is a celebration of video games and our collective interest mixed with a healthy dose of humor. And tonight we're tackling probably my favorite genre. I mean, I'll probably say that about another genre later, but tonight is my favorite genre. I love JRPGs. I've loved them for a very, very long time. My favorite game of all time is a JRPG. Several of my favorite games are JRPGs. And what's funny is I hated them at first. Like, I played my first, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. I played my first JRPG when I was a kid. I was like, and people would add, like, I hate the games where you have to push the button and select attack instead of attacking. Like, that's how I felt about them at first. And then I wised up. And I found out the joy that is JRPG.
So let me ask you this, because I know it's going to come up. So what makes a game a JRPG?
So this is an interesting thing. So when I teach my video game class, I had to like really think about this, because if you put something on a test, you have to be pretty like straightforward as to what it is. But some of this stuff isn't super defined, because a lot of these various genres evolved constantly, and like what you would consider a JRPG now might not have been a JRPG 10 years ago. So, you know, it's a little bit nebulous, but what I would say is a JRPG tends to have certain elements. Leveling up is one, which like an action RPG, you know, which isn't a JRPG, but the RPG element of leveling up. It has things from D&D, basically different elements from D&D. It's very story focused. The story tends to take precedence over the gameplay. Nowadays, they tend to be very cinematic. And if it's a straight up JRPG, you're selecting your action instead of actually doing it, and you're taking turns. And there's usually an emphasis on collection in some way, whether it's collecting magic, collecting items, collecting pocket monsters. Okay, and then there's other things, or crystals, yeah. But those are kind of the things I would say, like, a JRPG tends to have those elements. They also tend to have a feel of Japanese storytelling. Like, they tend to have similar storytelling as anime, and up until very recently, the voice acting was very much directed by Japanese directors, and making English-speaking people try to speak English with Japanese inflection, which didn't work so well a lot of times, but there's sometimes the performance is good. But yeah, Jess is going to have some fun with that in Final Fantasy X coming up soon.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I mean,
but what would you say, Jack? Would you add or subtract anything?
You know, I was talking to some of the hosts before the show started a little bit. Like, I at the time, right, back in the 90s and 80s, JRPG definitely meant a certain style of game. I think in the time since, the definition has certainly evolved. Like you mentioned, like now, You have a lot of real-time RPG element, like action RPGs that do have a lot of the elements that came from JRPGs originally. But you've seen a lot of these games that have come from other locations now. Like you have some that we're going to talk about that, came from France or came from Canada, came from the United States. Like some just like the design necessarily has evolved. And I think it's definitely kind of outgrown the original moniker. But
yeah,
I
think so too.
In spirit, I think, yes, everything you said is 100% correct. But I definitely think it's the definition has grown from where it was, like I said, 15, 20 years ago.
I knows it when I sees it.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think we've had a progressive kind of evolution of it, because there was a big anti-Japanese design in general sentiment for a very long time in video games, for a good 10 years or so, or more. So I think there was also an evolution in the JRPG so it could survive economically. So that tends to happen too. But in terms of the show tonight, I feel like we should be pretty open to JRPGs. I was talking about before the show, when Harvest Moon came out, for example, and the little byline below it on EGM, GamePro, whatevs said JRPG. Now, today you'd call it a farming simulator, right?
Yeah.
But it did used to be JRPG, and it kind of grew out of a JRPG, and the same folks that played JRPGs back then, I was one of them, also played that game. So, not a hill I'm gonna die on, but I'm gonna say that. Attack me, and if you'd like to attack me, just post a comment here below and tell me how wrong I am about Harvest Moon. That would be fantastic. And I do read them all during the week, so you can make me angry on Friday too. All right, so let's get to the list, if you will. I'm pretty stoked about this. I was talking to my wife and they were talking about my favorite genre. So it was so hard to pick. I have way too many, and we won't get to them all. So I'm gonna just kind of go through. Same. Yeah. So I'm gonna start hopefully with some games I haven't talked about as much, and then I tried to put games even that I like more. Yeah. But have talked about at length towards the end.
These are in no particular order, right?
That's correct. Yeah, for me at least. No particular.
Mine definitely are not.
I mean, I put Chrono Trigger later on the list too, because when Maul flies in from the Overlord, I know he loves Chrono Trigger, so I want him to be able to be a part of that conversation. But I'm gonna go with Xenogears. Xenogears was a game, when it first came out, I couldn't find it flipping anywhere. For whatever reason, the stores around me didn't have it. I don't know if it's because of the content or not, but when I would go into stores, I could never find it. It just, wasn't compared to Gran Turismo, a gigantic, huge selling game. But I first played the demo, which we talked about last week. And I was really transfixed by the style of it, and the fact that you played the mechs and all that stuff at the beginning, and the battle system, which is something we'll probably talk about throughout the night. Battle systems are something that for me really define if I'm going to like a JRPG or not, because if I can't stand the battle system, Final Fantasy VIII, then I'm going to have a difficult time liking the other dishes that you put before me in the buffet. So for me, battle system is very unique in that one, and it's really interesting, and I enjoy it. But my favorite thing about Xenogears, I've always been super interested in mythology and religion and all that kind of stuff, and that story really dips into a lot of those themes. Yeah. And growing up playing games, I had never played a game that really dipped into those themes, so it was kind of whoa, are they really tackling that in this game? It was pretty crazy, but and as a kid, maybe a little scary, but I really enjoyed it. So Xenogears is always going to be up there. And learning about the development process, how those poor developers were worked to the frickin' bone, and they literally had no sleep. People quit the company over it. It was a really horrific development process of people making a game that they really loved, but were being squeezed to death on. So much so that the game didn't get finished. So that the last big part of the game is literally just telling you the story, because they couldn't finish the game to do it. But Xenogears, love it.
Yeah, crunch back then for certain developers was certainly no
Extra
joke.
crunchy.
Yeah.
Crunchy
All right.
Cheeto. All right, so let's get into yours. Jack, what's your first pick?
So I will kind of echo your sentiment. If the battle system's not great, I don't really have much interest in your game. I will add one caveat to that too, or maybe one addendum to that. You have to have a great battle system, and you have to have really great regular battle music, because you're going to hear that the entire game. And so, anyway, so that just kind of leads in my first pick on this list, or on my list, is Final Fantasy VI, or as it was released here in the United States, Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, I've talked about it here on the show in the past. Like, there is something just like the battle system's great, the characters are great, the story's fantastic. It's a worldwide battle for magic and the fate of the Earth or whatever planet they're on, and
Evil
wins, and you have to figure out how to continue on. And I think that is one of the most
relevant today,
right? But it's one of the most compelling stories. Like as a 12, 13 year old playing that game, it was completely mind blowing to me that they actually let the bad guy win at one point, and then you still have to figure out how to pick up the pieces and move on. And that was really, really cool, and it really stuck with me as I was growing up. And so Final Fantasy VI, not to mention just the amazing score from Uematsu. Like, Final Fantasy VI, one of my favorite games of all time. I will still go back and play it, not all the way through, but like 75% of the way through, and then I'll just pick up a save game and play the rest of it, like the last sequence. But it is such an amazing game, such a triumph on the Super Nintendo. If you have not played it, you should go do yourself a favor and try it out. The Final Fantasy HD collection is a great way to do that today.
It is. Yeah, it is. I've been actually replaying Final Fantasy VI through that. And the nice thing is, if any of you want to play pre-7 Final Fantasies, all the Steam versions of all the Final Fantasies do this, but the pixel remasters of 1 through 6 have the kind of stuff that 7, 8, 9, 10 have on Steam in the consoles, where you can you can make it so you don't have any battles, you can super power up your character, you can make it so you never die, so you can really experience the story. Because some of the like great things about those games are experiencing the story, and if you keep dying, then you don't get to experience the story.
Yeah, and at the time, some of them were notoriously difficult.
You had to grind. I hated grind. That was another thing when I was a kid I really hated about those, was grinding, like having to grind and level up your character. It ultimately is like rewarding, though. That's the thing I hate about it. Like, it is rewarding. Like, those games, it is like you grind and you get better and you finally overcome what you couldn't overcome, and it's like really rewarding, but also it sucks because it takes so much time.
There is definitely a feeling of accomplishment when you go from just barely surviving a fight with a slime to like defeating a Drake, and you're like, yes.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Final Fantasy 3 was also really expensive on launch for the SNES. It was $80 on average in and so if you apply inflation to that, it's $177.32. Like, all games have gotten so much cheaper if you account for inflation. Still, I would still like them to be even cheaper, but $177.32 to play that. Because I remember I didn't get that game until I bought it from a friend, and it was significantly after that. But when we worked at the game store, Jacko, I was in there and someone brought in a complete in-box Final Fantasy 3/6. Perfect mint condition, and he's like, I'd like to sell this. And our assistant manager was there. He's like, we don't take Super Nintendo games, because we didn't at the time. And I was like, I'll take it. and he's like, okay, it's yours. I was like, you don't want any money? He's like, no, I just want to get rid of it. So I got for free a CIB Final Fantasy 6.
I do not remember that at all.
You weren't there, because if you were there, you probably would have taken it.
I would have offered more.
Capitalism. No, I got it for free. I didn't pay a cent.
Man.
I was even like felt bad. I was like, dude, are you sure? Like, I can give you some money. He's like, nah, I just want to get rid of it.
Wow.
Some angel came in. All right, Logan,
Yeah.
hit us with your next pick.
I'm about to focus on like Pokemon for the next hour. 'Cause that's like really the only real experience I have with JRPGs except for like one other game. So I'm going to start with the obvious starting place, Generation 1. Man, the world would be a different place without Pokemon Generation 1 coming into
Where
existence.
would it be? Gotta collect them all, baby.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't alive when it originally released, but like
You know,
Pokemon is
Logan.
Now I feel ancient.
Shots
Thank you very
fired,
much.
okay.
now. Sorry, but man,
Hold on, I gotta go get my cane really quick.
it's like it has created the biggest gaming franchise in the world that has like permeated everyone's childhood since that point. And like all the character designs are incredible. Like I think about Gen 1, like some of the Pokemon from Gen 1 do admittedly have a little bit of like a different style than what they're doing these days, but like there are still plenty of really timeless designs. Like all those starters are very well done. The legendaries like Mewtwo and the 3 legendary birds and everything hold up. And
Great at
they
Smash
found-
Brothers.
Yeah, great. I love playing Mewtwo in Smash Bros. And Charizard.
Charizard is my favorite Pokemon.
Give me Machamp all day.
As is for many people. And then like it's not the most complicated JRPG. It has a very simple set of battle rules, but it made it very approachable for like younger people to play the game. And even as an adult, like the collectathon aspect is super satisfying, and especially that element of like raising a team and teaching them specific moves to curate your own little strategy is very rewarding. And they did a good job creating a sense of adventure in the game, and discovery with, you know, finding rare Pokemon and sometimes having to go to unique places in the world. Like, you know, with the legendary birds, you go to different islands and that kind of thing that are beyond the normal map. Same with like Mewtwo. And then there's Mew, who could only be found through like special events and that kind of thing, which was kind of new for the Game Boy because it was one of the very first handheld consoles that really blew up in that way. And oh goodness, there's another. Also, some of the storytelling, like it's not the deepest story ever, but occasionally it would get into some harder topics for younger people, like the Lavender Town death at like the Pokemon Tower there hits kind of hard. But yeah, no, I thought it was a very strong start to Pokemon.
No, I love
Also-
it because sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
Last thing,
Yeah,
I
no,
love
please.
some of the glitch Pokemon in those original games too. Like when I'd go back and play and like always try to get Missing No. It's just a fascinating aspect of those games to me.
Yeah, for sure. No, so by the end of the evening, I'm going to be a Pokemon fan because of you and Jess, because I've seen your lists. And I'm excited for it because I want to be a Pokemon fan. I'm supposed to start with Crystal. Is that right? Is that the story?
That's my favorite, but
Okay.
there's better places to start.
That's a good jumping
My
off point.
favorite's Gen 3, but Crystal's
Gen
good
3 is
too.
probably the best.
All
I'll
right.
say
Well,
one of the
decide.
things. Go ahead.
I don't know. Yeah, I was just gonna say I remember Pokemon Red and Blue, and I went to the store and got it because it was the new Nintendo thing, and Penny Arcade was talking about it, so I had to get it. And I played it, and I love JRPGs. So first of all, I was like, "This is never going to become popular. It's a JRPG. It's not going to catch on. You know, people aren't going to like it." Final Fantasy VII was like kind of the one that had really gone crazy, and then it was starting to die down at that point after, you know, the SquareSoft peak. But anyway, I just never got into it, and I love the designs. I think the Pokemon themselves are beautiful, and so I think if I'd been a different age, but it's never too late to start.
Oh yeah, just echoing that real quick. Like I was aged out of the Pokemon range. Like when it came out, I was already, I think, 14, 15. So like it was kind of kid stuff. But you know, years later, with the value of hindsight, like man, a game is fun. The game is great. It was one of the first games my kids got to play once they learned how to read, because it was really easy for them to kind of understand it. And honestly, I think my favorite aspect of it, and one of the things that I appreciate the most about it, is it is really like very, very simple rock, paper, scissors, right? Like you've got all these elements and each one has a strength and each one has a weakness. And so you kind of, it helps you create that perfect team depending on which situation you're going into. And so there's an element of very easy to understand strategy behind it. And I think that's really what helped people, aside from the cute designs and awesome music, get into the game.
Gotta catch them all. The cartoon, I think, was the...
Oh, that helped a lot too.
But yeah, no, I just to finish off with it, simplicity can be good. Like games, and I like when things get complex too, and that can be fun. But there is magic to just distilling things down to their best elements and not overcomplicating it. Yeah. And so there's something, Nintendo's really good at that. So anyway, I'm excited to hear more about Pokemon this evening. And with that said, Jess.
Yes.
Pokemonus.
So also on that note, I'm also going to be spending a fair amount of time on Pokemon, along with Logan. But
Nice.
On the note of like the simplicity, I think that is like a huge selling point, again, especially because they were going after a younger audience when they launched it, and it is really accessible in that realm. I will also say it can get really complicated if you want to be good at it.
Yes.
That's true. Simple to
I'm
learn.
not.
Simple to learn, difficult to master.
Min-maxing Pokemon is a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole thing, and I am not smart enough for it. But I will occasionally watch, like, I'll watch people on YouTube doing like Nuzlockes and stuff, where there's like all of these rules, and it's min-maxing, and it's a level of thinking and strategy that I'm just simply not capable of. So I will say, like, it is very simple and accessible to start with, but like you can make it really complicated.
Well, you can dive into like breeding and stuff to maximize Pokemon stat, which is a whole other discipline too. Like, yeah.
People get crazy with it, which is super fun to watch. So saying that, we're gonna go on to my favorite gen from a nostalgia standpoint, because it's the first one I ever played, and it's really the first game that I would say if I didn't play it, I don't know if I would have like gotten into video games in the same way. Because it was the first thing that like really hooked me, and it was like I'm now obsessed with this thing, and that's Gen 2, which is the Gold, Silver, Crystal games. I had Crystal personally. I do believe I stole it from my cousins because they didn't appreciate it, and I did. But it was a lot of fun, and there's a lot that I appreciate that it built on from the first one. Because there was so much good stuff in the first game, and they kind of just like stepped it up with Gen 2. They added a day-night cycle and made it so that there were some Pokemon that like only came out at night, and some Pokemon that like evolved based off of time of day. They added 2 EV evolutions, Umbreon and Espeon, and one of them evolved at night and one of them evolved during the day. Also, Umbreon is my favorite Pokemon of all time. So I love it for that. They added the Pokemon eggs and the breeding aspect of things, which was really cool and something that I spent a lot of time on. The second that you realized that you could get any Pokemon with a Ditto and then get an egg of that Pokemon, it was like everybody had to find a Ditto, and it was so hard to do. And so that was like a super fun like thing that you could like figure out. Right, and that was in the time before the internet was like an easily accessible thing, so it felt like you like figured something out, or it's because you bought the guide to figure it out. So like that was a super fun thing to, because I was young when I played it, so I felt like I was really smart when I figured out the Ditto hack.
There you go.
I also think that was the gen that they added Steel and Dark type too, so they started like expanding pretty early on. And then my favorite thing about it, and the thing that like I still go back to, and it was such a cool moment the first time you encountered it, is once you get through the Elite Four, you have the ability to go back to Kanto from the first game. And then when you play through that, you can eventually fight Red, the protagonist from the first game. And he is so hard to beat. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but like he was like the highest level like trainer in any of the games for a very long time. Like he was insanely difficult to beat. And I don't actually know if I ever succeeded in doing that with like the original game as a kid.
Oh, wow.
But that was just like such a cool moment of not only do you get to go back, but the character that you played as is now there and you have to fight them. And it was a really cool aspect.
That's always cool. I like when they do like little callbacks like that on sequels.
For sure.
And it was this thing of like, I don't know if in general people like knew about it, but I feel like they didn't. I know I certainly didn't know that, because I assumed you went through, you beat the Elite Four like the first game and it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that there was like essentially a whole second game, because you got to go through all of the gyms and the Elite Four again in Kanto. And so it was like, oh, I got double the game. I didn't even realize I was going to.
That's a really special
they've never
thing
done it
about
again.
Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to, there's a couple comments. 8-Bit Moss Player says, I was majorly biased against Pokemon, never played until a couple of months ago, cracked open Silver and the OG Game Boy. Simplicity of it made me smile. So another convert there. Sketchy Ceviche says, what's the best JRPG and why is it Chrono Trigger? We will be talking about the trigger later. Ceviche also says, it's great to hear opinions from people who ain't as old and crusty as us. So Jack, we are not old and crusty, I think is what he's trying to say.
You know, it takes a long time to get to that level. So, you know, I'll deal with it.
It's wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom. And Daria, what wisdom are you going to bestow on us with your pick?
This is one that I've mentioned frequently on the show, and it's one of the, I haven't really played very many JRPGs, but Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban Game Boy Advance game is one that I played over and over and over again. Because you have to play it to get each of your characters up to level 100, which is the max that you can get it. You have to play through the storyline multiple times. And so, and through all of that, like it's like the turn-based system. You have encounters, and there for each of the characters that you play, like Harry has a specific like skill or feature that he can do. Hermione has something different. Ron has something different. Each of the spells costs a certain amount of like points to use. And you like on the collection aspect of things, like you collect wizard cards. You move around the different like spaces throughout the storyline, and you'll run into chests. You'll unlock it by collecting sets of cards. One of the other things that you kind of like, you cast a spell to learn about the creatures that you encounter, so you can learn the best ways to like what spells are their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so like figuring out where, like I think there were like one or two like I think one was like because they had different like versions of the same kind of creature, so like different kinds of spiders, different kinds of like mushrooms, like different
Yeah.
And so there were like one or two of them that I had to like consistently like run into encounters to try to find, because it took forever to figure out where they were located, because they're all like I guess similar to Pokemon, which I've never played, but there certain areas had different creatures that you couldn't run into, and they appeared as just a blue kind of blob until you encountered them for the first time. But it follows the story like the same kind of way, and you use like as the film, and it just adds like different kind of like little pathways as you kind of explore through all of that. But so that one's, and then one of the other things that you can find is like armor sets, and you can equip that for different like different boosts and whatnot. But no, I know it's the only one, like one of the only ones that I've played, but that I played that over and over and over. And on the topic of music, I loved the music for that. Like I would buy a CD of that if I could, because that and the
I love it.
And the music for the Goblet of Fire one.
Have you gone out and sought out the soundtrack on YouTube yet?
I have. I've seen it. It's been a while since I actually pulled it up, but I do know it's on there.
Nice.
Well, I remember when you showed me this because I got, my flash cart for the GBA, and you wanted to show me this game. And not being a Harry Potter fan, don't kill me. I was, a little bit not wanting to play it maybe, but I was really surprised that it was a JRPG, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was a JRPG, and it made me interested. So that's very cool. And also something that makes me interested is the appearance of Maul.
Hello.
What's up, man? He knew we were going to talk about Chrono Trigger this episode.
Yeah.
I haven't missed anything like that, have I?
Not yet.
No, we got past it. No.
No, I specifically put it on the outline because I wanted you to be able to talk about it.
Sorry, guys. That's
No, we're saving it we're keeping it warm. We're keeping it warm.
To warn you, you might see parts of a cat down here. She's being clingy right under my keyboard here, so
that's okay. It'll match Daria's. So, but glad you're here. All right. So let's continue down the journey of the JRPG that we're doing this evening. All right, we'll go up to mine. I'm gonna do one more before we get into Chrono Trigger. 8-Bit Moss Players also says Maul. It's like the entrance of Kramer.
Buddy.
Like that's.
I'd rather not take that association.
How about we go with Norm?
That's true.
Norm. There we go.
Yeah,
that's a guy who never offended anybody.
Yeah,
that I'm aware of.
There you go. He's so irrelevant that I kind of forgot about that whole terribleness. But all right. So back to things that aren't controversial. Chrono Cross. I know it's controversial. I know, and then next time we'll get into the one everyone loves. But Chrono Cross, Chrono Cross. I obviously loved Chrono Trigger and had played it and loved it. So I was super stoked for Chrono Cross. And, I read the reviews of it. It got ridiculous reviews. If you look at the reviews, it's still like one of the highest reviewed games from that period. It got, perfect 10s from people. And I didn't know that people hated it for a while, actually. And so I would be like, oh, have you played this game? Like, oh, it sucks. So, but no, I really like the battle system in it. It's actually one of my favorite JRPG battle systems of all time. I love the fact that you can basically use every magic, every single battle. If you work it out, you're not losing MP and then, kind of running out of stuff. I love that. So basically, if you haven't played it, when you attack, you can have a weak attack, a medium attack, or a strong attack. And the weaker your attack, the higher percentage that it will connect, but the lower damage. And so if you hit with a 1, the weakest, you get 1 little bar on your magic thing. If you hit with 2, you get 2, and 3, 3. And so as you go each level of those, you can do stronger and stronger magic, and you can arrange them kind of however you want. You can put a weaker magic on like your 3rd or 4th level, and it's stronger than it would have been on the first. So anyway, I love that battle system. As we said, it's something that connects me. I also love the music. Music is huge for me for JRPGs. So both of those things are fantastic. The story, again, I like the story. It's not maybe the strongest JRPG story. It's not, but it's fun and it's interesting. And the whole parallel worlds thing hadn't been totally played out by that time. At least in video games. So it's I like it. I know there's like a gazillion different characters you can get, and that's supposed to be the selling point. I was never super into that. For me, it was playing the game, the music, and of course, being the first game my wife ever gave me, it'll still be always have a place in my heart. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Nice. Well, I would say you're wrong at all, but like, I mean, it's the thing with it is like for most people, it's just not as strong of a entry into the series, right? Like it was going to be
I
the
agree with that.
long-awaited sequel, and I think for a lot of people, like, oh, this is going to be like the new franchise builder, right? We're gonna have a new like Final Fantasy-ish series, but you know, with time travel and whatever, building off of the great stuff Chrono Trigger built, and instead we got like, you know, the franchise ender, right? It was like.
It did.
And not even because it didn't like sell, you know, like it still hit greatest hit status and everything.
Yeah.
But it just didn't like have a whole lot of other branches.
It didn't have a long
it,
tail.
you know? Yeah.
It didn't have a long
you know?
tail.
There's, I don't know, there's some. When I first read about it, and it's kind of the same kind of gimmick as like Suikoden. Which has, you know, a billion characters in it, but a lot of them are not like well developed in Chrono Cross. Like some of the guys you just run into and they're like, "Hey, I'll join your party," and you're like, "All right, random luchador, why not?"
Yeah,
You
there's
know?
like 4
And then-
characters I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like, but yeah, to that point, Molly, like yeah, the characters, all the characters in Chrono Trigger, like are awesome. They have cool backstories, or at least they're very colorful characters. I mean, the frog is just amazing. Like there are so many iconic but there are memorable characters in Chrono Trigger, and I have not finished Chrono Cross, but I really struggle to you know, talk about more than just the main character, because it's just kind of interchangeable.
Well, there's probably like backstory side quests for a dozen or so of them as well, because a few of the other side characters do have little stories to them. I could not tell you what half of them are any longer, like to your point.
Well, most of them aren't very good. I mean,
yeah. But you know, like to your point, they're good. So, like the magic system, like Break was saying, is pretty interesting. You know, like another aspect to it you didn't quite get to was the color coding of the magic field, where like the battlefield has like a representation in the corner around it of like 3 different concentric rings around the battlefield. Every time you cast a spell, it's like color codes a ring, and those get pushed out, and you're trying to get like either an all solid field will boost that type of magic of that color, or you can make like patterns, whatever, and including the final boss has to be defeated by casting spells in a certain color order in order to actually get the true ending.
It's a cool gimmick.
Yeah, so there's some interesting stuff, and then the music is killer. I still have my CDs of the soundtrack
is so
somewhere.
good.
Yes.
The soundtrack is the one thing that I will say might be as good as Chrono Trigger. I'm definitely not saying that Chrono Cross is as good as Chrono Trigger is a classic. It's an all-time. It'll go down as one of the absolute best video games of all time. That said, I really enjoy Chrono Cross. I think it's absolutely worth playing. I like that they didn't play it safe like at all. There's very little callback to Chrono Trigger.
Is that?
You know, it's not just fan service, when that could have been easily like a killer selling point. So there's definitely things I like about it. It's worth playing. Again, I'm not putting it on the level of Trigger, but I like it. I like it a lot, and I do think I would put the music up there. And
music's up there.
The battle system's great. I mean, battle system still works.
It cooks. Like it's got some good moments. There's just a lot of lag in there. You know, I don't know.
It
like when you're
pushed the
changing,
PS1 pretty hard. Like
it did. Well, I don't mean like lag like system wise. I mean like
there's some
in the
lulls
story,
in the story.
right? Like there's a few. Like it starts out pretty good, and then like you do some spoiler alerts, I guess. There's some body swapping going on. That's all pretty cool. And then like I don't know. The one of the strongest times in Chrono Trigger though is like when you get to where you are. It gets more open world, and you're able to go around and like really play with time travel and like try to fix all the things you saw wrong in all the different time zones. And that period in Cross is again because of like the 100 ill-defined characters, a lot more lame. Like there's not really.
It's true.
Like you do
the
it.
late game
you do
is
it because you're trying to do it like for completion's sake, but you're not like, you know, oh man, what a cool twist, or oh that storyline brought me to tears. None of that ever happens.
It's true.
You know. So
Yep.
Yeah.
It's true. I would put it. I mean, it's a game that I personally like really love, but I can definitely recognize that it's not like Chrono Trigger or, you know, some of the other like best of all time. The soundtrack, I would put up there as one of the best of all time. I love the music in that. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good.
It's
Very,
good.
very relaxing. You know, they could have used a few more action tracks in there.
That
but
opening track though, with the opening
Opening
FMV
track is- yeah,
is
that's
The
like,
opening
time.
track's great.
I will rock that in my car all the time. I love it.
Yep.
Dun, 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 yeah. All right. Let's go on to Jack's next pick. And go.
All right. So my next pick, I'm going to hop around and pick a different series. So I'm going to go with Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King on the PS2. So
Yeah.
I'm a big Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior fan. Like the original, played that on the Nintendo, you know, got it with a Nintendo Power subscription, all that fun stuff. Didn't really play 2, 3, or 4 just because, you know, they were expensive, and B, I couldn't find them anywhere around me until many years later, obviously, with the glory of technology today. But when I was in college, or soon thereafter, I did find Journey of the Cursed King. And I tell you what, that rekindled my love of Dragon Quest. And I was really not expecting it. I thought it was just going to be kind of a fun RPG. It'd be something to kind of take my mind off Final Fantasy X, because that was probably the last thing I played like that. And honestly, it really brought back everything I loved about Dragon Quest. Like the battle system's great. Again, the battle music, the standard battle music is amazing. It had a really cool story, kept me going throughout it. I really wanted to know what happened. What happened to the king? Why was he cursed? Why was I traveling around with him? And just all the cast of characters that you meet throughout the game. The bad guy is extremely Kefka-esque, if you will. It had everything that really spoke to me as a fan of RPG elements, or at least as it really grabbed me. I don't think there's any other way I can really state it better than that. Just it kind of had a great fit. The orchestral soundtrack was amazing. Hearing the Dragon Quest theme in being played by an orchestra was amazing. It's a very cool game that I think, if you look at the ones leading up to it, you know, 5 and 6, which were on the Super Nintendo, 7, which was on the PlayStation 1, and then even you look at 9 and 10, which were a lot different than 8. I think it's really interesting just how it fell with all the other games around it. And I think 8 is kind of that last of the real traditional Dragon Quest games. Although I have not played the most recent one. I think it's 11 or is it 11?
Yes, I think so.
I think I'm losing my mind.
No, I think isn't there a 12?
There's either a 12 or a 13.
I've lost count. There's too many spinoffs now.
Yeah, well, that's without. Yeah, that doesn't need to be said, but yes,
12.
I'm yeah, okay. 12 was the last one.
Yeah, Flames of
Okay.
Fate.
Yeah, I have not played that one yet, but man, 8 is probably.
Oh, it's
one of
not
my
out yet
favorite.
either.
Oh, okay. I'm
We're at
very excited. I'm very excited
It's
to
in
play the
development.
7 remake, and I honestly need to go back and play the 1 and 2 and Dragon Warrior 3 remakes too, because now that I'm free of Death Stranding 2, that is on my plate soon.
Yes, for sure. Great choice. And a really awesome game. And I'm also excited for the 7 remake. I just want to remind everyone, getting a lot of new folks here joining the fray. Give us a like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. We'd love to see that. And then, you know, please give us a comment, and I'd be happy to read it on air, assuming it's relevant and not horrifically obscene. And Also comment, and I'll
Be a
read them
little
during the
obscene.
week. Little obscene is okay. It's not horrifically obscene. Now bad
sure,
things are going to
sure.
happen. I shouldn't have said that. But great choice. That particular one I think is an awesome choice. 7 was good, but 7 took forever. It wasn't like 100
Yes.
hours or something.
Yeah, 7
Like,
really
ridiculous.
dragged, and to really get 100. Well, to be fair, 8 dragged in some spaces, and to get 100%, like get the true ending, which is something they really introduced like after I think 4. Like there was like a true ending you could get for each game. That took a long time to grind out and get like all the pieces you needed to do that.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, this is in the later PlayStation 1 era, right? So that became a staple of the JRPGs at one point, because I remember being in, in GameCo, working there, and people would come in asking for RPGs as they were like on the rise. They'd gone from being like obscure Super Nintendo, kind of dusty on the shelf, kind of back corner pieces, to being like what everyone was hyped to come out with.
Oh yeah.
And people would come in and be like, "Oh, what do you recommend?" And I'd go down the list, and and they'd be like, "Cool, which one takes the longest?" And
That would not have been me.
yeah, well, I mean, it became kind of a thing where everyone was like, "I got to squeeze as much money and value out of my like $20 to $50
Yeah.
that I can." So like, if the game wasn't really long, it wasn't, I don't know, epic enough or whatever. You get kind of the same thing now with sandbox games, open world. Everyone's like, it's got to have a lot of content. Like, can it just be good content though, right? Does it have to be like 300 hours? I'm just wasting my life, grinding out, I don't know, like fishing quests, or I don't know what the hell.
Well, it's funny because
Yeah.
I've never cared about length, but I've also loved JRPGs, which tend to be one of the longest genres. So, but I much prefer efficiency to just purely. But
Mike's more of a girth man himself, so that's
Yeah, I'll
No
say
comment.
this. I'll say this though, like there is something satisfying when you put that much time into it, and if the game can deliver on the time you've spent building up your character or building up your party or building to whatever story, like it is pretty awesome to get that payoff at the end.
truth.
yeah. Well, you say if it's super long, it can be really really rewarding. Like if it's like Return of the King, it's a 4+ hour movie, but it's great and I love every second of it. But then like God, the new Avatar's runtime came out, and I was just like
Stop
groaning
it.
because
Stop
I
it, Cam.
know
Stop it, James.
I know it's going to
Get
be.
an editor.
It is on the Academy Award list. And I try to hit all of those every year just to say I did. And God damn it, that's the last one on my list because I'm not going to want to sit through it. So
Yeah.
All right, I gotcha.
that's
All
the
right,
same with RPGs.
it's yeah. There's something to be said there. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to our next choice here with Logan.
Yeah.
No Pokemon.
So-
No, I'm kidding.
Yep. Next. Oh,
I'm excited to hear about the Pokemon. I'm just kidding.
Yes. So the next one is going to be Pokemon Gen 3, which for me specifically was Emerald. And this solidly my favorite generation of Pokemon. Maybe, honestly, a non-small portion of it is because my favorite Pokemon are in that generation. Like, I think the design of the Pokemon for Gen 3 was the peak in my opinion, because they had like a really good balance of like not being too over the top but still having really striking, interesting designs. Like, I think they'd really hit their stride by that point.
What were the starter Pokemon in that gen?
So that gen was, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. Oh no. Okay.
Ruh-roh.
We got Trico,
Do you want help?
Oh, okay.
Mudkip, and I think
Not
it was
from me.
Mudkip.
Torchic.
And yeah, Torchic.
Okay. that is a pretty good gen. Like I wanted to know because
It's-
like as a Pokemon Go player and not a player of the original games, I know them all by region, not by which gen they were
Sure.
from, except for Kanto. I know Kanto.
Yeah. And like the starters are cool. I'm a massive fan of, I mean, it's kind of cheating, but all the legendaries from that generation, like Rayquaza, by far my favorite Pokemon, hands down. But also, I think in terms of just the design of the game, by that point, like their 2D level design had really matured. So you had a really good art style with the Game Boy Advance, very colorful, and still like everything's very clear. All the sprite art is beautiful. By that point, like you've got the full color palette, and the sprite artists really at that point had nailed down their visual language, and really enjoyed the evil teams and that one, like fighting over like land and ocean. It felt like there was a lot of scale and like gravitas in the story of the game, because you're like dealing with these forces of nature, which was just really appealing to me when I played it. Yeah, that's just probably the Pokemon game that captured me the most.
Awesome.
I would agree. I think it's the best, especially of those early ones. I haven't played as many of the new ones, so I can't speak to that. But I think it took all of the great things from the first two games and then really expanded and added things without it feeling too cluttered.
Yeah.
Gen 3 was when they added the contests, which was really fun because it brought like a different level of, you weren't fighting, but you were like training them to be like the most beautiful or the most, there was like different ways you could go about it. And so that was fun. There were secret bases that you could have and you could decorate, and that was like a fun little like added
about those
thing. I think it was also the first time, I agree with like the teams that you were fighting against, Team Magma and Team Aqua. It was the first time that it was like the bad guys weren't just like Team Rocket being evil for the sake of being evil. Like they were actually trying to achieve something, which was really cool. You also had Wally as a friend / rival. Like you had like the traditional rival that you have, but you also have Wally, who you get to see go from this like really weak trainer that really doesn't know what he's doing to like kind of stepping into his own, which was really cool. And it also was one of the only times in the games or the show where we answer a question of where is a dad anywhere in this Pokemon world. And unfortunately the answer is your dad's a Pokemon gym leader for some reason in an entirely different town from you.
It makes sense.
And
what
so
a commute.
truly,
That's where his second family lives. What can I say?
it is the whole thing in the Pokemon fandom of like where are the dads?
Yeah.
And the one dad
always,
we get is
isn't
like,
it always the professor? Isn't the professor generally dad?
And the joke of Professor Oak and Ash's mom.
That's just
will never
inner
not
city
be
life,
funny to
okay?
me.
That's just, it's the way it goes sometimes.
But no, I would say that it's probably the best Pokemon game in my opinion, and I would say as much as I love Gen 2, if you're gonna play something Break, you should start with 3. It's I think the best place to kind of jump into it.
Awesome.
I'm also going to throw in a little addendum to that Generation 2. I really enjoyed like the reboot, like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire from Gen 6.
Yeah.
I just think that they took the designs of Gen 3 and then added like the Mega Evolution mechanic to them, and I thought those were some of the most like tastefully designed Mega Evolutions they've done. And also
Very
getting to
tasteful.
see that whole world
Yes.
in the 3D style was pretty cool too.
Yep.
Well, now I
Mega
gotta go
Evolutions are
catch
really
some
cool in
monsters.
theory.
Oh yeah.
That was my favorite, like level up beyond the evolution type temporary power mechanic that they've done. All the rest of them felt like cheap imitations of Mega to me. But
I don't know. I mean, like Gigantamax Gigantamax Pikachu is really tough to beat.
You almost killed Logan. I saw him in the monitor up there about to spit his water everywhere. We haven't had a spit take in a good 15 years, so. Ruined technology. No more of
I
that.
haven't actually
Sorry,
played,
Logan.
Just so they're
played
like,
Gen 8 yet, but I'm going to remember that whenever I get to it.
Yeah, my monitor's up there. So if you see me up there laughing, some cat has done something, or that's why I did a close up of Daria, by the way, because her cat was going crazy over
Yeah,
there.
they
There's like a battle royale back there.
Cat
They
close up.
honestly, they chase each other up the tree, and
Cat
then
brothers.
like here, I'll show you. Yeah, they will like fight up there, and
One.
like
Fight.
go up and down. The
Finish him.
cat tree will totter, and then somebody will jump down from the top, and then they'll run out and then run back in. And
Nice.
They're
I think
crazy.
they're reenacting Revenge of the Sith back there.
There you go.
I hate you. Anger.
So-
A lot of anger in that room tonight. All right. Well, let's move on to Jess to get me more excited about Pokemon.
Yes. So I am actually going to go with a generation that is maybe not as fondly looked upon, which is Gen 5, which is Pokemon Black and White.
Gen 5.
I think in general people were kind of underwhelmed with like the gameplay of it. I don't think they did a whole lot to make that aspect of it super interesting. They didn't add a whole lot necessarily that made the game feel fresh in that regard. What I think they did well, and what I think was the most interesting about it, was actually the storyline and the team that you were up against, which is Team Plasma. Because it's kind of the first time that they really kind of dug into the moral and ethical implications of capturing Pokemon and keeping them in Pokeballs and making them fight for you. Because the whole thing of Team Plasma and N's, the trainer, his name is N, that is the head of it, is that they're like fighting for like the liberation of Pokemon. And it's a little bit darker in like theme than most of the other Pokemon games are, and they don't ever really go back to it either.
Yeah, I think it's
but
like
it
the
was a
darkest
very-
mainline generation.
Yeah, and they kind of did it, and then I don't think the game did as well as like the rest of them, and then they kind of like backed off and was like, yeah, maybe we don't do that again. Maybe we don't get philosophical about the ethics of small children putting animals in balls and making them fight to the death. But it was really it was interesting, and the main character, the Inn who you're fighting against, actually makes like a lot of good points, and yeah, I think it's the most compelling like actual storyline in a mainline game, while not necessarily being the most fun gameplay wise.
Cool.
I'll
Very
throw
good.
out. I
Again.
really I like Gen 5 and also Gen 4 for this reason too, for the art style evolution. They started playing with
Oh, yeah.
2.5D, which was really interesting. Like a lot of the sprites would just kind of rotate and be locked to the monitor while you started getting more 3D locations and that kind of thing. It was like a really fun way to evolve the design of the games.
Awesome.
Yeah. I will say I do like the story, as you were saying, about the trying to liberate the Pokemon. That's one that I've always been like, that'd be me if I were in that world. Because why are we caging these critters and trying to get them to fight for us?
Caging
Especially
these
when
critters.
We
Because
see
it's
see
Needs
how
to be the
intelligent they are.
subtitle of the next one.
They're like they have like nigh human intelligence. Some of them, like they're walking around like getting, I don't know, like superpowered children and capturing them and making them into your slave labor or something like that. So I like Arceus, where the protagonist might be like an aspect of Arceus, the god of Pokemon. He's like, hey guys, can we just live in cohabitation with them? And everyone's like, you weirdo, no, we built all these arenas for them to go fight in. Like, what are we gonna do with those? Like,
You did create all the Pokemon with like hyper powerful attacks. Like, what did you expect them to do?
that's to defend themselves.
From what if they're not attacking each other?
I mean, like just do that in the wild, not for your entertainment. I mean, shit. Like lions have powerful attacks. I'm not gonna make them go like fights. That's bear baiting. That is a Elizabethan era entertainment, and we've left that behind us.
Death Wish.
Didn't you all see Detective Pikachu? They're there to help solve crimes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the solution.
Crimes. All right, let's move on to our next pick. with Daria.
Rick's tired of all this Pokemon.
No, I love Pokemon. I'm excited. I just want to make sure we get to Chrono Trigger before we have to end because it's like your favorite game of all time.
That's
But
true.
no, I love the
That's true.
Pokemon. I'm seriously, I am going to give it a try in 2026. And it's because of Logan and Jess.
Awesome.
Success.
All right, Daria, as long as it's a game I've never played, go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
I'm just
Since I
kidding.
don't
I'm
really-
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm excited for you to talk about it. Go. Do
Well,
it.
I was gonna okay. Well, first I was gonna mention like I have played a little bit of Final Fantasy VII. I haven't played I haven't gotten through the whole thing quite yet. But like when I started playing it, I did actually go and try to find the original game guides for it, and I have 2 of them, 2 different ones.
Awesome.
So, I think it was after you showed me some of and talked to me about that before. You can go ahead and say what you're going to say.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
But no, I honestly need to get back into and finish it so I can experience it completely, because I was really, really enjoying everything that I was to the point that I'd gotten to.
It's not bad.
But it has, it's been a bit, but actually I wanted to kind of depart from that for a second, because I have a Game Boy right here.
Yeah.
And this is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I love the music for it.
That's not Final Fantasy VII.
No, it's not. But although it's a little bright, but the music is really, really nice. And yeah, you just kind of I'm trying to find the best way to kind of
We can see
do
it.
this.
We can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
can see it.
that's good enough.
But just kind of navigate around, and then yep. This is honestly one of my favorite of the battle themes. I can't get into it any louder.
Sounds
but,
pretty good though.
No,
I
it
like
sounds
it.
all right.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
but
For the
But yeah.
GBA's atrocious sound hardware, that's pretty good.
Some of the worst sound hardware, but
I will say I probably should give that one a shot one of these days. At the time, I played a bit of the the PlayStation, the 3D adventure platformy.
yeah,
Harry Potter's, and
I like those ones too.
Yeah, they're fine, but I didn't think normally the Game Boy games are just a shittier version of the PlayStation one, so
Yep.
I didn't give them a shot,
Sit
and
down.
now that I know it's an RPG, that's totally different. That's probably
It's-
worth giving a shot,
Honestly, it's between the 2 the games for Prisoner of Azkaban, because I played the 2 different different versions for Goblet of Fire. They're a lot more separate and distinct for Prisoner of Azkaban, especially with the GBA and the PlayStation versions. But yeah, no, I love this game, and honestly, yeah, like I said, the music is incredible. There's different versions of battle themes, and I think that's one of the things that kept me, why I made it so easy to play over and over and over.
I'm stoked to. I might give it a try. I don't know. I got to get through Pokemon first.
You
And if
say you
can
should
get-
try.
if
If there's
you can-
any Harry Potter game that I would recommend, it is this one.
Well, if you get
I
me
don't
to
think
play
you're gonna
Harry
get through
Potter,
all
then
of
that's
Pokemon before you need to try something else.
every Pokemon game. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I'm gonna be it's Pokemon coming out of my ears. But, all right, but yeah, you should play that Final Fantasy VII game. It's not bad. All right, so going on to my next pick here, we're gonna go to a game that you might all like, and if you like it, why don't you give us a comment there about how much you like Chrono Trigger? Otherwise, I might think that you don't like it. So, but Chrono Trigger is such a fabulous game, and I'm going to defer to Maul because I know Maul, it's your favorite game of all time. So I'm going to let you
I've never
start
heard of
us.
this one actually. I don't know. Yeah, man. So this was one that, it hits like the nostalgia beats as well, because it was one that I got for a birthday present from my grandma, and it was like the only thing I got from her that year because, goddamn, the game was expensive. It came out, it was like $85 in like $1994 or whatever year that came out in. Yeah, but I played through it numerous times, again and again over the years, and it has stood the test of time. And the game just hits all the right marks. So, Chrono Trigger is a game where you are little Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame designed kids who get sucked through a portal to go back in time and disrupting the flow of time in ways that ultimately end up being wrapped into or tied into the apocalyptic end of the earth in the far future. And you have to jump time zone to time zone trying to set everything right and discovering that things are tied together in ways that you didn't think because history has been recorded incorrectly at certain points along the journey. So incredible game. Great for the Super Nintendo. Graphically, it was amazing. Score, soundtrack, fantastic. Honestly, it was just like a labor of love, a dream project for the guys who worked on it, and every one of them just like firing on all cylinders, right? Yeah. I mean, like, it's not unfair to compare it to like, something like Star Wars, where that's become like one of the pinnacle moments of like American cinema because it was made by a bunch of filmmakers, craftsmen, musicians, model makers, etc. Everybody who just like wanted to push the boundaries of what they could do as much as they could. And same thing for Chrono Trigger, just took everything and made 16-bit gaming. They made, it pushed it as far as it could go at that time. And it's good. It's really good.
I mean, you think about all that stuff you mentioned, the battle system too, like just being able, like the fact that you could kind of play with space and what the arrangements of all the enemies were, and how you could combo off like certain attacks with with the rest of your party was really cool, and something that just you didn't see a whole lot then, or even like later on. Like I don't think there was anything even close to that until like Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast. It was pretty awesome.
Like that, and like of course like Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah,
one of the deeper, like team up systems. But yeah, the double and triple tech combos in Trigger are pretty crazy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you said so many amazing things about it. That game, I remember, I kept seeing pictures of it, and this is back in the day where you didn't just get to play everything, and it was an expensive game, so it took a while before I actually got to play it. And I actually wrote to Nintendo Power such a stupid letter, but I literally asked if I should play it, and of course they didn't write back or put it in the magazine. But I remember writing that because I was like, it's so expensive, should I get it? But I remember
it's so dumb. Of course, we're not even writing it back.
He's not gonna understand it. Don't play it. No, I remember renting it, and it was a rainy day, and going down in my basement and putting it in, and just that clock sound at the beginning. There's something about that is so iconic, and even at that time, sitting there, I was like, this is gonna be something special. And whoever had it before me, there was a save on there that goes to the what's it called, where you're out of time, when you're in that little area and there's a rainbow thing.
The end of time.
The end of time, there you go. And I just went there because and it probably was a bad idea to not get spoilers, but I just went there and I was like, whoa, this is the end of time, this is crazy. And I just remember that day very vividly, going through it and beating it, not getting the right ending, and then hearing that there were other endings and going back through it, and just the fact it really feels like you can the universe and all of time is at stake when you're playing that game, and you can really affect things. When I teach my video game class, that's one of the few games that I make people play, and make people play for a significant amount. A lot of time they jump around, to different games, but I make them play Chrono Trigger for a pretty significant amount of time. I make them at least get to that time jump and a little bit after that. And that's such a great set piece. There's so many of them, but that first set piece of the performance of the time machine, or it's not a time machine, but the break of the transporter that becomes the time machine. That's such a great set piece, and it gets you so interested in what's going to happen. It's really like a nice spicy intro for like a book or a movie. And again, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's great also because like not only like are all the storytelling is top notch, like all the intro and stuff you just pointed out too there, but it's one of the game's earliest examples where I feel like decision making is really impactful for the player.
Yeah.
Which is what you really look for in role playing games, especially like on tabletop. Mm-hmm. Like there's railroad games, and then there's ones where you are the decision maker, and what you do really impacts the story. Like it's maybe not quite collaborative in this example because there are still like a limited number of paths, but still, like what you do determines whether or not like the villains will join your party and become anti-heroes, or do they die with the rest of the world. Once you get to where you can go far enough into the game that you're playing through the new game plus, depending on when you decide to go fight the final battle and how many storylines you have left undone will change what the ending looks like. Characters will break curses or not. People will live or die in the background. And one of the biggest examples, if you fight the game before you kill off the lizard people who were fighting with our ancestors, the ape evolved cavemen, for dominance of the earth, and of course normally the cavemen win, but if you don't, that's with your help as it turns out, so if you don't go to that and the dinosaurs rule the world, it plays through the opening of the game again, but everyone's a reptile. Just crazy fun stuff like that.
So, or is everyone a reptile?
You mean like now?
Just kidding. That's a thing. People think that. I had a guy, there's these landscape guys. There's a brief story came out. He had like reptile people tattoos all over his body, and he was telling me about the reptile people. Wasn't the best landscaping we ever had. Couple questions right in. I want to get to really quick. Johnny Graphics. Hello, Johnny Graphics.
Hey,
welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing our podcast come up there pretty soon. That was a fun discussion. But Legend of Dragoon is one of my faves. Unique combat and great story. That is a good one. I haven't played that one in a very, very long time, but I should give it another try. An 8-bit Moss Playa says only had a Genesis and missed out on the SNES. I am now building a library. There are so many good SNES RPGs. Most expensive. Flashcard. Do you have a top 5 SNES RPG list that is diverse, mixes things up? I could give you one really quick that's not necessarily like my absolute favorites, but the ones that kind of come to mind, and then maybe the others will have some too. Final Fantasy 6 / Final Fantasy 3, you definitely want to give that a try. Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, I would give that a spin. Chrono Trigger, of course. And any of those like Illusion of Gaia, Soul Blazer, any from that series, Terranigma, are good ones. Yeah, there's a lot of really great ones. The first Breath of Fire game's okay, I would say. But what about you, Jack? Do you have something to add, Maul?
Yeah. No, I would say Final Fantasy VI, Secret of Mana.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a really good one.
That's really good.
Second Densetsu 3 is good too.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger. Let's see, Breath of Fire 2. Actually, I really like Breath of Fire 2. And then let's see, one more for me. Did I already mention Illusion of Gaia? Because I would say Illusion of Gaia.
I mentioned it.
Okay, so yeah, I'd say that's probably my 5. I'm sure I'm missing one. I'm gonna kick myself later, but let's go with that.
Maul, can you upset Jack with a pick he forgot?
One pick you forgot. Yeah, I don't think I'll go a whole list of 5 because a lot of them have like crossovers here. Yeah, the Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger, whatever. But the one that was not mentioned that I think kind of needs to be is Earthbound.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm gonna kick myself.
I even had that in the intro video and I forgot to say it.
Yeah, Earthbound is so unique amongst games, not only because it's set in like contemporary, like modern day. because we tend to associate so strongly RPGs with just like sword and sorcery titles, but they don't have to be, certainly. And so that one's set. You're just kids in the modern day. It does talk about where this kid's parents at. Your dad calls you sometimes on the phone and is like, "Hey kid, sorry I'm stuck out of town. I deposited some money in your ATM though."
Yeah.
ATMs and computers are your save systems, your banking. You can put stuff in the bank, so if you die in the wild, you don't lose your money. That's a cool little twist. The monsters are all weird, very weird. They're like just normal everyday objects possessed by, I guess, aliens. I don't know, but you fight just like everything. Like all the parking meters are creatures, and every animal in the wild is possessed. The cops, the bullies, they're all after you. Just a funny, weird story, that involves like, aliens crashing your backyard, having to take them out. There's a cult at one point that worships the color purple. The strategy guy that it came with had like scratch and sniff pictures of the enemies that all smelled like farts. It's just a wild little game. Fun stuff too, because like your health bar and your magic power bar are like spin down dials, where the numbers actually rotate down. And if you're able, like when you get hit, it counts down all the numbers. It actually spins through everything as your health winds down. And so if you're able to defeat the monster or like put a spell on yourself before it finishes winding down, it actually stops spinning. So you can prevent some of the damage by timing what you do. It's really interesting stuff. And it's a very, not only a zany story, but one that's really actually pretty heartfelt by the end. So definitely throw that on your list too.
That's a good list of games to play. That's one of the things I like about these videos when I see them from other people too, is you get a list of games that maybe you haven't played before. And the SNES has such a great JRPG library. One of the best. Real
solid.
Yeah.
I mean, that one and the PS1 are probably the two I would...
I will say for our guy out there, Genesis, since he grew up with Genesis, Phantasy Star is still a really solid
Shining
series
Force too.
So
Shining Force, as well. If you play any of the Phantasy Stars, make sure you at least play 4. 4 is really stellar, literally.
I think 3 and 4, they really are very polished games. Yeah, they're both very good.
Is 3 the one that you do like multiple generations of people?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's an interesting idea. Very nice. And all right, so let's go ahead and move on. We're doing another round here. So I just want to let everyone know we've got a lot of new people watching. We do this every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. So please join us, because you can hear great takes like Jack's next take.
I don't know if I'd say they're great takes.
I would say they're great takes.
Oh, well, that's being too kind, I think. So my last game that I'm going to talk about is Yakuza Like a Dragon, or Like a Dragon 7, if you're playing the Japanese versions. So I love the Yakuza series, and I was just going to get this new game because I figured it was going to be a new Yakuza game with the new protagonist, with Ichiban Kasuga. But man, I tell you what, when I got it, when I saw the pre-release coverage and found out it was actually a turn-based RPG, I was over the moon. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the way that all of the Kiryu Yakuza games play, but having one where and the cool justification they make for it within the universe is like Ichiban's a legit Dragon Quest fan, so he thinks of the world in terms of Dragon Quest. Like, he is fighting certain types of thugs and it's all a turn-based battle for him, and it's one of the coolest things ever. And I like the lengths they went to kind of justify it within the scope of the game and the story. But the music, the dubstep, like dubstep is the weirdest thing to show up in that game, but it fits really well. The soundtrack's amazing. The story is incredible. I mean, it's a very long game, like any JRPG is, but the twists and turns that you go through to find out more about Ichiban's backstory, the characters that he's with, all of their backstories, and ultimately just where his journey leads is pretty incredible. And it's honestly like I love the Kiryu games because by the time you get to Yakuza 6, like you've been with him almost his entire life, or you feel like it anyway. But Ichiban, there's something about him that is just, as a character, he's very sincere, like almost to a fault, and he's a really great character to build that franchise on. And I won't discount either Infinite Wealth either, like, because it's a very solid follow-up and it improves on some of the stuff that's in Like a Dragon. It's one of my favorite games of the last 10 years, and both of them are fantastic games. So if you are a big JRPG fan and you are Yakuza curious, you should definitely give those a shot. It's a lot of fun, and it brings the zaniness of the Yakuza games to a great JRPG.
Yeah, they're great. I'll second that.
Yeah,
Sega's rocking with those.
They've found something, man. I can't wait to see what the next one is. Their other game that is not necessarily in the Yakuza series, but seems like it's related.
Gotcha. Well, we have some sad news. Logan has to ascend back into space to the edge of oblivion.
Gotta head out. Yeah.
But wanted to say goodbye to you. So we will see you next week. We'll try to make do without you here for the next couple minutes.
Sorry,
Hey,
guys.
man.
See
Bye,
you.
Logan. No.
Yeah.
No. We should have like a cavernous effect. I used to have that ready. No more. All right. Skipping Logan. Jess, bring us home.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave the realm of Pokemon for a minute and head somewhere else. As you mentioned, actually at the top of this, once upon a time, Harvest Moon was considered a JRPG.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to argue nowadays that it is. I am, however, going to argue that Rune Factory, a fantasy Harvest Moon, is. It was a very interesting game when it came out because, if I'm remembering correctly, they announced it as like a 10-year anniversary thing for Harvest Moon. And I was expecting it to be very much just like Harvest Moon, but like there's a little bit of magic going on. But it was much more kind of like plot heavy than I thought it was going to be. Like, you were dropped into this world and you're a specific character and you have amnesia. And you wake up on this farm and you're like brought in by Misty, who runs the farm and lets you stay in a house there to work. And then you discover that there are all of these monsters that are like emerging and that you have to like go and defeat. And there's this like enemy empire that's trying to dominate the world that you have to stop. And it's much more like, it's less focused on like the farming and the like relationship sim aspect, and there's much more of a like actual plot going on, which is not necessarily what I was expecting going into it, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And I think I haven't played all of the follow-ups to it, but the ones that I have played have all been really enjoyable, and I thought the characters were a really fun time. But it was much more on the side of like actual RPG mechanics than the traditional Harvest Moon games were.
Cool.
I've never played the Rune Factory games or any of them. Like, yeah, so it's kind of that is a blind spot for me for sure.
A lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. I don't remember them perfectly because again, it's been so long since I've played any of them. I should go back and like pick them up again. But it was a refreshing take because I was kind of just expecting again for it to be like Harvest Moon with like a different skin on it, but they actually like put some more substance into it than the traditional Harvest Moon games.
Awesome.
Very cool.
It's always fun to get more. I've only played the first Harvest Moon game of any of those types, so but I'd be into more, especially if I get more time. But I've got a lot of Pokemon games to play, so a lot of monsters.
That first.
A lot of monsters.
Priorities.
A lot of monsters to get. Well, this has been a really fun show talking about the JRPGs. If you're a new person around here, please give us a like and subscribe. We really appreciate that. We just hit 200. We'd love to hit, 250, 450, 3 million this week. Any of those numbers would be fine with me. But appreciate you sticking around. Most of you have stuck around for a good portion of the show. We do this every week. So check us out, breakmanx.com. We also got a Discord there. With that said, Jack, what are you going to be doing this week?
Oh man, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I do want to give a shout out. The 8-Bit Big Band won a Grammy for Super Mario Praise Break, and I am super excited because that is super cool. More exposure for video game music, more exposure for super cool arrangements and like funk soul music. So super happy for them and just over the moon. They did also announce that they've got their 6th album in the works. So I'm very excited to see. They did a concert over the holiday break, if you will. And they played 2 new songs off that new album. One is you'll love this, from Mass Effect 2 to the tune of Gilbert and Sullivan, Pirates of Penzance. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian, which is amazing. And they also did an arrangement of Baka Mitai from the Yakuza series that was fantastic. So very excited.
Very, very cool. And Maul, how's your week going to be?
Well, first off, I'm going to remind everybody that Super Mario Brothers RPG exists, and we didn't talk about that one at all.
We should have mentioned that on the SNES list. 8-Bit Moss Play Out, that's another good one. There's also a remake on the Switch of that.
Yeah. So when it's a little more modern, you can get that. Really, we should do another one of these talking about modern RPGs, because most would throw all the old stuff. Like there are some good new ones that are out there. Just kind of get lost in the shuffle because all Americans just play like Madden now. Madden and Roblox. That's all our country.
Hey,
is.
you can set the prices of hot dogs, right? Can you still do that?
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't played a Madden in a very long time, but you used to be able to set the prices of hot dogs at the stadium, and that's an RPG
owner version. Perhaps so.
Oh, I was thinking I could set the price of hot dogs within Yoshi's encampment or something like that.
Yoshi loves the chili dogs.
That aside, what am I doing this week? I don't know. Probably just watching some movies. Honestly, it's Oscar season. I just watched Begonia the other night. The movie's weird and wild, and I enjoyed it though. It was pretty good. Made me laugh, made me thrilled, made me sad at different points of the film. So
it's good to feel.
Yeah. It's hard to do that these days. Otherwise, no, this is my weekend off. I usually have a lot of D&D planned over the weekend. This week, I think I'm just gonna, chill out, watch some movies, and survive.
Nice.
Yep.
Survival is also good right now. Daria, what about your week?
Well, I worked pretty long yesterday, so I'm probably gonna get to leave early Friday. So I'll have a early start to my weekend. And I've honestly just been getting back into like playing stuff, because it was a while like that I've just been so preoccupied with other stuff and work, and right now I've been playing FBC Firebreak with the new mode, and just seeing just getting back into it and unlocking the cosmetic stuff. But
nice.
But yeah, so might do a little bit of that too.
Awesome.
Early on Friday, more time to party. So.
She's a party animal. And Jess, what about your week?
Yeah, like I said at the top, I'm going tomorrow to see Iron Lung, so I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited to hear what you think.
I'm very hopeful. I've heard mostly good things, so I'm going in with decent hopes. And I'm going to a Super Bowl thing on Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's this weekend.
I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's football.
Never mind. I changed my. I know what I'm doing Sunday now.
It's football.
Yeah. So I'm going mostly for the snacks and for the halftime show. As
it's the best
per
part.
Usual. But yeah, I think that's most of my plan, and then just writing all the time, always.
Awesome. Well, it's been fun. This has been, again, one of my favorites. But Maul's right. We'll have to do another one of these with some more modern games to add to that as well. But again, if you're new around here, please give us a like and subscribe. Really appreciate everyone that watched tonight. And we'll see you same time next week on the game show.